The wind howled like a banshee across the desolate plains of South Dakota, whipping dust devils across the cracked asphalt. Detective Charlie Parker, a man whose face mirrored the ravaged landscape, squinted through the grime-coated windshield of his rental car. He was a jaded investigator, a ghost chasing ghosts in a department long haunted by unsolved cases. This one, however, held a chilling familiarity. The town of Hollow Creek was a husk of its former self, a forgotten echo of the gold rush boom. Now, boarded-up windows stared blankly at Parker, their reflections distorting his own haunted gaze. He was here for Emily Larson, a young journalist found strangled in a deserted field, her lifeless eyes reflecting the endless sky. The details gnawed at Parker. Emily's body was posed like a macabre marionette, her lifeless fingers clutching a scrap of paper with a single word scrawled in blood: whisper. It was a chilling echo from his past, a word that had haunted him since the unsolved case of the Whispering Woods murders years ago. The local sheriff, a portly man named Hank with a perpetual 5 o'clock shadow, greeted Parker with forced friendliness. Hank's office, a cluttered mess of forgotten cases and overflowing ashtrays, held a collection of Emily's belongings. Among them was a weathered journal, its pages filled with cryptic notes about Hollow Creek's dark history. According to Emily's research, the town was built on a sacred burial ground of the Lakota tribe. The whispers, she wrote, were a malevolent entity, a vengeful spirit awakened by the desecration of the land. Parker scoffed. His years of chasing dead ends had eroded his faith in the supernatural. But the chilling resemblance to his past case lingered, a cold knot in his gut. The investigation led Parker to a desolate stretch of woods known as Whispering Pines. The wind sighed through the skeletal branches, an unsettling lullaby that sent shivers down his spine. As he ventured deeper, the whispers began, faint at first, then growing in intensity, a symphony of voices that seemed to emanate from the very trees. Parker stumbled upon a hidden clearing, a makeshift campsite with a single burnt log as its centerpiece. Scattered around the ash were more chilling clues, newspaper clippings from the Whispering Woods murders, all with the now familiar word scrawled across them: whisper. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, a gaunt man with wild eyes and a long, matted beard. He mumbled incoherently, his words laced with paranoia and fear. This was Jacob, a local hermit ostracized by the town after claiming he'd witnessed a shadowy figure near the campsite on the night Emily died. Parker, recognizing the signs of trauma and possible mental illness, felt a sliver of compassion pierce his hardened exterior. He decided to take Jacob in, hoping to glean some answers. Back at the motel, Jacob revealed a shocking truth. "They whisper your name, detective," he rasped, his voice barely above a whisper. "They know you're here. The whispers took them all, just like they took my Sarah in the woods." Sarah, he explained, was his daughter, one of the victims of the Whispering Woods murders. Parker felt a wave of nausea wash over him. Was Jacob right? Was this some kind of twisted curse, a cycle of violence perpetuated by malevolent whispers? The line between reality and his own fractured psyche began to blur. His investigation took him to the town library, a dusty mausoleum of forgotten lore. There, buried beneath a stack of yellowed newspapers, he found a chilling account of the Lakota legend, the legend of the Wendigo, a malevolent spirit that devoured human flesh and whispered promises of power. The legend spoke of a ritual, a sacrifice offered to appease the Wendigo. The victims, it said, were chosen based on their connection to previous offerings. The stark realization hit Parker like a physical blow. Emily was a journalist, just like the first victim of the Whispering Woods murders. He, too, was a hunter of darkness, drawn to these desolate places by an unseen force. Panic clawed at him. Was he simply the next pawn in this horrifying game? As the whispers intensified, echoing through the motel room, Parker formulated a desperate plan. He retrieved a worn crucifix from his luggage, a relic from a past he'd long abandoned. That night, he returned to Whispering Pines, Jacob in tow. The Wendigo, a towering figure shrouded in shadows, awaited them in the clearing. It spoke in a voice that sounded like 1,000 tormented souls, promising power in exchange for their souls. Parker, fueled by desperation and a flicker of faith, brandished the crucifix. The Wendigo recoiled with a hiss, the whispers growing frantic. In the ensuing chaos, a horrifying realization dawned on Parker. Jacob, consumed by grief and fueled by the whispers, had orchestrated everything. He'd murdered Emily, the journal entries a twisted attempt to lure Parker back to Hollow Creek. Jacob, believing the Wendigo was real and crazed with a desire for vengeance, had used Emily and the legend to manipulate Parker. The whispers, Parker understood with a chilling clarity, were not a malevolent entity, but a manifestation of Jacob's fractured mental state, fueled by years of isolation and loss. The crucifix, a symbol of faith long abandoned, had no effect on Jacob. Instead, it enraged him. A struggle ensued, a desperate dance between a tormented soul and a jaded detective clinging to the remnants of sanity. In the end, Parker overpowered Jacob, the chilling echoes of the whispers finally silenced. The aftermath was a bitter symphony of despair. Jacob was taken away for psychiatric evaluation, his eyes vacant and devoid of the spark of madness. As dawn painted the sky a dull orange, Parker stood in the clearing, the silence deafening. The case was closed, but the scars it left ran deep. The whispers, though proven a figment of a broken mind, had taken their toll. Parker, a man who walked the line between cynicism and a desperate hope for redemption, felt the darkness closing in. Back in his cramped apartment, the crucifix lay discarded on the table. Sleep evaded him, the chilling echoes of the whispers replaced by the gnawing questions that lingered. Was there truly a darkness out there, waiting to be awakened? Or were the monsters we faced all too human, their darkness born of grief, loss, and a desperate yearning for control? As days turned into weeks, Parker received a call. It was Sheriff Hank, his voice grim. Another body had been found in Whispering Pines, a young drifter with a single word scrawled on a crumpled piece of paper clutched in his hand. Beware. The whispers, it seemed, had found a new voice.